So this is 06:55 GMT, 07:55 British Standard Time on Sunday, the 2nd of October 2022. This is part one of the KhoodeelaarTV television channel broadcast under the BabyAngelGeronimo banners on the internet, not on terrestrial, not on satellite, not on cable platforms. This is being broadcast by taking into account events in East Java, where the Sky News in the UK is reporting with a stupid headline that riots killed 129 people. That is not true. It was a massacre caused by the police. It was a massacre of the football fans caused by the police firing tear gas. It is almost like a Hillsborough twice over was created by the police firing tear gas into the crowd. Policing large crowds of people like the football fans must be done with the highest possible caution and respect to the fans and to the gatherings. Instead of showing that respect and taking any caution, the police in East Java Stadium intentionally created a deadly, murderous massacre by firing tear gas into the crowd. The crowd consisted of two teams, fans. One team, the team that actually lost the game, was the one that was already too excited and it invaded the pitch. So instead of the police trying to do whatever should have been done to calm them, the police excited them further, aggravated the crowd, and by firing tear gas shells into the crowd and immediately setting off a stampede that was inevitably going to cause deaths. A stampede meaning people running over people and killing people they are running over. Policing, as shown in East Java in Indonesia, is not maintaining peace or preventing disorder or protecting lives. Police is doing the opposite. And in the case of the UK, where the Times and in the last week, the Telegraph, Boris Graph, have been running idiotic lines, headlines, and so-called long reads, wondering why the police have lost the confidence of the majority of the people. There is no secret. In the case of the UK, especially Little England, the police are officially the force for the monarch. They are not the force for parliament nor for the people, but they are for the monarch. Anyone who has physically visited the UK Houses of Parliament At the entrance is the police, is the palace, the palace of Westminster is a palace that belongs to the monarch. For 70 years it has belonged to Elizabeth, Brenda, and since her passing in the last month, it belongs now to Brenda's son, Brian, also known as King Charles III. And there is nothing in the setup, there is nothing in the so-called arrangement as to who the police are accountable to. And there should be. There should be police accountability. Now, in the case of a setup in Indonesia, in the Java, the police brutality and disrespect to the public is exposed, exhibited brazenly as being 100 times worse. And that is what has happened in East Java in the last 24 hours. Police firing tear gas in the clear knowledge that it would drive the already excited people crazy. And they would kill. Unintentionally, they would kill because they would try to escape in the stampede. And they would kill fellow fans, which is what has happened. And as with the case of the Hillsborough disaster of 1989, there will be no justice for the victims of the massacre of the stadium. 1989, 99, 2009, 2019, this is 33 years ago, in Hillsborough in Sheffield, where the victims were mainly Liverpool fans. And for 33 years, nobody has been really held to account. Excuse after excuse after excuse, lies after lies after lies have been perpetrated and produced and paraded before the so-called courts of law. These courts of law, in these cases, have behaved as tools of courts of lies, and careerist opportunists like Andy Barnum have profited personally, careeristically, by making suitably scripted, emotion charging, so-called sympathetic statements of solidarity with the survivors of the tragedy, as the words have been put there, tragedy, not the massacre. Because somebody in physical control of the exits from the Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield took the physically decisive action that set off the stampede and killed all these innocent fans. Most of the football fans go to the sports and games with the purest of motive to enjoy the success of their team. That is not an offense. But most of them are also already primed with high levels of excitement. And this is known, this should be known to the so-called police. because the police are the ones that have the quote power to control the movements, the exit, entry into and out of the building, out of the stadiums. What happened in Indonesia and East Java should not have happened if the police were doing the basic level of policing, common sense, and absolutely showing respect to the fans. They didn't use common sense, and they did not want to show any respect to the fans. How could firing tear gas shells into the most excited and emotionally charged crowd calm them? How could it calm them? So we shall be talking more about the policing, the absence of the policing, the absence of the accountability by police to the public, to society, and the deadly price that ordinary innocent people like the Hillsborough fans in the case of the Liverpool fans and Sheffield, and these fans from the mainly the fans that supported the defeated team in East Java. And in between the various charades staged through the corrupt courts, the Hillsborough survivors were wiping their tears and hoping that some miracle happened and somebody would be held accountable. And the same thing must be happening now in Indonesia, where the survivors, the families, the loved ones of the massacred fans would only hope for a miracle, that somebody would be named, identified, and held to account. That will never happen, because policing across the world, is not policing to safeguard the public. It's the policing to safeguard the forces of the state that want safeguarding. So these are state-backed forces of terror, terrorizing the ordinary people. So our fullest sympathies go to the victims of the massacre in East Java, and we send our condolences to their families, loved ones, and we shall be continuing updated commentary on these for the next few days. Now back to the situation in the United Kingdom, so-called, and the varieties of headings that actually show that Liez Truss and crazy Kwarteng are out of order in terms of the so-called mini budget that has set off kind of the domino effect of the financial system collapsing in the UK. And despite the fact that the Bank of England intervened and for a very temporary period averted a disaster concerning the pensions funds, there is no certainty that this can be sustained over a relevant period in the coming days, weeks, months. And the propaganda unit operated for Liez Truss is behaving true to form. It is defiant, and it is also at the same time using phrases and words that are supposed to be reassuring. Well, immediately reassuring to the conservatives that are gathering today in Birmingham for their annual jamboree. And it is quite clear that the gathering at Birmingham of the conservatives would be most unpleasant among themselves. There is nothing to celebrate, there is nothing to brag about, there is nothing, absolutely nothing to offer the country. And the most important line that has been running in the Fleet Street papers or Fleet Street media is that the conservatives, because of the crass behavior by Liez Truss and the crazy Kwarteng, have now lost the myth of economic competence. That is what has happened. And the other side of this analysis has Keir Starmer standing smug, looking smug, as if he has done something original to create the situation where the ordinary people that are still not hoodwinked by the conservatives and not kind of shackled to the Little England brain trap. They are quite ready to give the opportunity for government to any party that exists outside of the conservatives. That is what is happening. But Starmer, the political murderer of the Labour Party, is grinning beyond tolerance. Starmer is a cruelty imposer on the society's poorest, the weakest. As he decided days before he left the job of Director of Public Prosecutions in 2013 at the CPS, that the poorest and the most deprived would be put through the most difficult honesty tests in order to prove that what they were saying was true. That meant that the hardship that the DWP, that is Department for Want and Poverty Creation, had already been imposing on the people, would be able to get more people legitimately or lawfully deprived of their basic benefits and support. So Keir Starmer, if by default he gets into number 10 Downing Street, is not going to make life better for the poorest and the most deprived and the most violated in society. And there is no mechanism in the court system to hold a government fronted by a depraved Keir Starmer to account, just as happened with the liar Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson had to be got rid of by the Conservatives because Johnson's rule-breaking illegality and defiance were upsetting too many people, not because the courts had given any ruling against Johnson, but ordinary people are getting fed up with the daily appearance and emergence of negative headlines and headings based on Johnson's crazy rule-breaking defiance behavior. As Keir Starmer proved in the case of endorsing the depraved DEPRA and its corrupt and criminal and cruelty narrative against BabyAngelGeronimo. Starmer said that BabyAngelGeronimo, even if BabyAngelGeronimo was indeed innocent and in the best of health, the BabyAngelGeronimo could still be attacked and violated. And Keir Starmer's corrupt criminal complicity with the depraved DEPRA against BabyAngelGeronimo was followed by the corrupt criminal West Streeting. West Streeting is the criminal frontbencher in the Starmer-fronted so-called Labour Party in Parliament, who is being promoted by the Fleet Street right-wingers who have not produced any evidence that streeting is even familiar with the founding principles for the underlying the Labour Party. So they are going to promote West Streeting as they are going to promote Keir Starmer, as they're going to promote anyone else that comes forward with the cruelty endorsement for the DEPRA lines of lies against BabyAngelGeronimo. Now, BabyAngelGeronimo is the epitome, the personification of innocence. So if they could persecute and harass and lie about and demonize the innocent, purest BabyAngelGeronimo, then no one else would be spared, and especially no one who could have any minor sign of any illness. So this is the updated statement about the BabyAngelGeronimo and the treatment that the liar Keir Starmer and the liar West Streeting supported as plotted by the depraved DEPRA. In the so-called Fleet Street media, the lying son of Dominic Liez's son, the lying son of Nigel's lying son, Nigel's lying son, Dominic Liez's son, did the same. He mocked and ridiculed those people on the internet far and wide, those who were supportive of the BabyAngelGeronimo, absolutely for universally perfect reasons. Dominic Liez's son mocked those people and in effect cast poisonous aspersions against BabyAngelGeronimo's mom, Helen MacDonald. As the two of them stood in South Gloucestershire and they were being photographed, and they were being photographed, and they were being photographed, and it was suggested, not actually asserted, but it was suggested, hinted at, that reason would prevail with the depraved DEPRA, with the regime, the cabal fronted by the depraved Boris Johnson, and the depraved, corrupt, criminal, unreasonable, unscientific, untruthful Christian Middlemas the Christian Middlemass, who is the chief vet, would be brought to control. There were 3 separate rubber stamping judges in the High Court, or High Court judges, that actually gave rubber stamping rulings in favor of the depraved DEPRA and against the BabyAngelGeronimo in 3 separate hearings, or say separate rulings. Let's see if we can find So the British and Irish Legal Information Institute, also called Bailey, So what we have is the knowledge. We're not locating the particular cases at this time because maybe we are entering the search terms in the different way with different words than are relevant to retrieving the particular court reports. We shall do that for another edition and update accordingly. But essentially, what happened with the High Court There were three cases. There are three cases essentially brought by Helen MacDonald, BabyAngelGeronimo's mom, to have the DEPRA examined truthfully by the court of law. And on each of the three occasions, each of the three judges in the High Court effectively broke the law and perpetrated lies and added aggravated lies as it rubber stamped the depraved DEPRA. So what they did was give the evidence. Helen MacDonald provided the evidence as far as she could provide, given that the so-called licensed law traders that appeared on her behalf or advised her were themselves self-censoring. All the licensed law traders in the England legal jurisdiction are by definition, automatically licensed, but they're not licensed to exercise the universal right to tell the truth about any case. And when it comes to the actual behavior of an agency of the state or a department of the state, these licensed law traders are self-limiting, self-limited, self-censored. They don't tell the truth. And they go out of their way to tell lies to their client, such as Helen MacDonald in this context, in order to discourage their client from really telling the truth against the depraved DEPRA in this context. So we shall search for these three cases and rulings, and in the next appropriate edition, give the chapter and verse and the quote the actual words of the lying English High Court judges. These lying English High Court judges lied against BabyAngelGeronimo and lied for the depraved DEPRA and gave the rubber stamps to the depraved DEPRA scripts. With the court behaving in that way, the safety and the protection from harm deserved by the likes of BabyAngelGeronimo and other animals, the safety is not guaranteed through the courts. Cases after cases after cases put through the English court system corruption. The cases are rejected. Cases against the department, against also the likes of the professional vets, the vets companies, the veterinary surgeons, businesses that operate under the banner of actually helping animals that are sick and unwell. These are also used as extensions of the UK DEPRA, depraved DEPRA, to commit mass murders, also called culling, of innocent animals. As with the police, there is no accountability for the court system. There is no accountability for the corrupt, lying judges. As we have made clear about David Neuberger, Neuberger was the first so-called president of the so-called Supreme Court. And Neuberger retired from that post in 2017. Coincidentally, 2017 was the year that BabyAngelGeronimo arrived in the UK from New Zealand, his home place. The picture of BabyAngelGeronimo standing in the space, his home space in South Gloucestershire, along with his mom, Helen. The picture says that maybe there are some human beings among those who are in control of the powers over the lives and the safety of the innocent animals. Maybe some of them will behave truthfully and honestly. This was the picture. This has been the picture for years. And there are other pictures put through the social media as well. There is a large kind of amount of documentary materials showing BabyAngelGeronimo running around and enjoying himself. Some of the people who have commented on him have mistakenly said that he is not aware of the looming danger against him. Well, BabyAngelGeronimo belongs in the group of the highest standard of innocence. To BabyAngelGeronimo, only the truth exists. Lies don't exist. So BabyAngelGeronimo is allowing these people who have come from various parts of the country to get their photographs taken by standing near him and giving the appearance that they are supportive of him. Some of them have even said in their spiels to the media that they would physically create a blockade against anyone trying to do any physical harm to the BabyAngelGeronimo. It is not clear from the totality of the opinions expressed by these people over the relevant periods, the last 3-4 years, when BabyAngelGeronimo has been targeted for false labeling, branded as being ill with unspecified illnesses, which is absolute lies. All of these has been done by the abuse of the post holder, so-called chief vet, Christian Middlemiss. And High Court after High Court after High Court, or High Court sitting after High Court sitting after High Court sitting, refused to recognize the truth, refused to require the the depraved DEPRA to provide physical evidence to justify the lines of lies against BabyAngelGeronimo. The BabyAngelGeronimo has been systematically defamed. And in that systematic defamation program, the main name is, of course, has been Boris Johnson, the fronter of the cabal, and until a few minutes ago, let's say, those who were inside the home space. BabyAngelGeronimo has been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, truthfully, honestly. There has been no sound in solidarity with the BabyAngelGeronimo, the innocent BabyAngelGeronimo. No sound in solidarity with the human mom, Helen MacDonald, from the local so-called member of parliament. The so-called member of parliament, South Gloucester, has been exposed as a small-time minister. A post that has been given him by way of remuneration, reward for their complicity with the corrupt plot against the BabyAngelGeronimo. We shall be stopping at this stage, as I said, when we shall update on the technical details and the technical contents of the three so-called rulings on the record made by the three lying High Court judges in separate sittings, who rubber-stamped the liars of the depraved DEPRA and defamed BabyAngelGeronimo under that cover that they are judges and they enjoy the so-called judicial independence. We shall have other items to update on in the next editions. So this is being brought to an end after 41 minutes of broadcast at 07:38 hours GMT, 08:38 UK,